What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time on this Sunday early afternoon or morning, depending on where you are. Morning for me, afternoon for me. It's like 6 a.m. for Keith. Not really, but he's out there on the West Coast or Central Time. I don't even know what they have out there in Arizona. But what's up, everybody? We're going to have a fun show. We're going to try to do as good as we did yesterday. I think, at least in terms of the bets, some of the pitching. So, we called like a Coors fade based on ownership yesterday. It was the three of us. I think we did pretty good on all that. Our scores and odds team, what did you say, Keith? They went 14-1 yesterday?
I believe that on straight bets, yeah, like prop bets and money lines, things like that. It was 14-1.
Pretty much everything except for my parlays.
Oh, yeah. You make the most outrageous things. If one of those hits one day, you make everyone millionaires. But, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Here at RotoGrinders, we got scores and odds. We got this show. Fanduel, there's a single entry series. No MME nonsense. You get to play. There's like a little live final. We do it every year. This is for baseball. Go check it out on RotoGrinders. It's on Fanduel. Probably the best tournament series you can get yourself into if you're a small to medium bankroll player. Tournaments every day. You don't have to play every day. You can just play a couple days and still find your way to the finals. So make sure to go check that out on Fanduel. All right, we got lots of games today, so I want to get right to the action. Me and Keith are going to talk cash. Andre is going to handle tournaments. There's a lot of good pitching today, Keith. One lineup just can't say it got a lot worse because you can't get much worse than the Pirates lineup. But Brian Hayes is out. That lineup looks absolutely atrocious now for Pittsburgh. So my question to you is, you want to play Nola on the road this year? I think it's okay. Generally, him on the road, he always pitches a lot better at home over the years. I think I'm willing to give that a pass today and still play Aaron Nola against this horrible Pirates lineup as my main pitcher. But there are a lot of good players out there today.
Yeah, lots of good pitching. I think saving the money down from McClanahan. McClanahan's obviously a great pitcher. A little bit of a tougher matchup for him against Cleveland, who just doesn't strike out. You've got Nola going into Pittsburgh, which is a massive ballpark upgrade. So I've never understood that home road split for Nola. I'm not quite sure what to make of it because he pitches in a very hitter-friendly park there in Philly. So this is an upgrade going into Pittsburgh. That Pittsburgh lineup is just really bad. They just lost their best hitter. Brian Hayes got scratched.
Best hitter. He's horrible, at least this year.
I mean, he's the one guy. Reynolds is up there. Cruz, we'll see what he becomes. But saying the best hitter on the Pirates is not a ringing endorsement. But as far as what they have available, he's among the best. So him being out is definitely a downgrade to this Pirates offense. Nola goes super deep into games. The K rate is not as good as McClanahan or Cease, but I think there's more safety here. He's still up around 28% himself, very strong. And it's his walk rate that allows him to pitch so deep into games. He's under 3.5% on his walks this season. I think Nola goes at least 7 innings here. I wouldn't be surprised with 8 or 9 in this one. So give me the safety of the long leash for Nola. Plenty of strikeouts there still, and a really weak Pirates offense on the other side.
Yeah. I like Nola too on both sites as your main anchor because he's just a little bit cheaper. And if you want to play on FanDuel, we have Coors. On DraftKings, we don't. But if you want to play the Aaron Judges and a couple of these other guys, you got to save every dollar you can today on both sites. So I like Nola. People are going to look at maybe if you play Lodolo on FanDuel, you can definitely get Aaron Judge onto your team. I found it a little hard even with Nola to do that. Is Lodolo, at least in cash, I think that's the combo on DraftKings because Lodolo is so much cheaper. At least that's what I'm personally doing to be able to get a mix of good pitching and bats. The 9,200 on FanDuel, I don't know if that's really worth $1,500 savings. I'm going to play Nola over that.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting up to Nola on FanDuel. On DraftKings, where Lodolo is so cheap, he allows you to get a couple extra bats. I think it's more of a conversation over there. On FanDuel, definitely just find the money for Nola.
Yeah, and then if you had like a best of the rest for cash, let's say for some reason people weren't on those, who's like your third guy maybe? To me, it's probably Cease for me today over McClanahan.
Agree. It's definitely Cease. A phenomenal matchup for him against Oakland. Phenomenal strikeout rate for Cease. The issue with him is the walks. He can sometimes get himself into trouble with the walks. So for that reason, I think Nola is a little bit safer. Certainly love Cease for tournaments in this matchup. And I wouldn't argue against playing him in cash either. He's been really good this year, and this matchup is outstanding.
All right. So we've got all those guys at the top, Andre, for tournaments. You got a favorite of the bunch? Like if you got to maybe separate yourself and take a stand on Nola, Cease, or McClanahan at the top, which one would you be most likely to play? Which one would be your fade at the top there?
It is so hard. Actually, now it got made easier. Before it was hard because I was going with Cease before, and I wrote up in the expert survey. But since that Pittsburgh lineup got a little bit more worse than what they were already, I want Nola now more than Cease. Even though Cease gets a match against Oakland, I just think Nola has just a little bit more upside now with Cease. And Cease, he can at times have a bad game and not pitch well and get the strikeouts that he needs to. So I'd rather go with a guy like Nola. In my opinion, today.
All right. We got Lodolo. Are you on board with Lodolo in tournaments today?
Yes, I love him in tournaments today, especially in Baltimore. Especially when you look at the weather report. I think Roth has it where it's not really friendly for home runs today with the way the weather is. So I like Lodolo. I think he's a good prospect, a good young pitcher that has a lot of potential and talent. So why not showcase it off against a team like Baltimore?
Yeah, Lodolo, he's had, a bad start against Cleveland, who doesn't strike out, and a bad start against St. Louis at one time. I'm not really going to hold those against, though. The rest of the time, he's been lights out. All right, so if those are all the players everyone wants to use, you got one that maybe people don't want to use as much that can maybe come through today.
I'm kind of – the only pitcher I have that I think could come through today that no one's probably going to be using a lot of is maybe Max Fried. Against Arizona. That's the only guy that I kind of like today as a pivot off of everyone else. That's pretty much at the top of them. But I think he definitely has potential to have a good game against Arizona. Just a matter of how's his pitches looking today and his strikeouts against that team.
All right, my favorite is probably Taijuan Walker. I like him, so you can get one of the bets I did today. You take him, it's either 3 or 4 or even 5Ks if you want to get I like his strikeout total against Miami's lineup today. I think the Miami lineup's pretty garbage today. I like the Mets to win in this game too, and I like Walker basically to hold Miami to almost no runs. I just think he should be able to dominate them in the day game today. So I like Walker quite a bit. I like him. And you take his strikeouts with the Mets to win. Put a same game parlay in on Fanduel. That's one of my favorite bets this morning. Keith, you got a tournament play for us?
I think so. Lodolo is going to be pretty popular on DraftKings where he's really cheap. I think you can look to swerve with JT Brubaker. I like that ballpark for pitching. Phillies without Harper still. There's plenty of strikeouts in that. Brubaker's actually been pretty good here. He's been around 5 or 6 strikeouts in several starts in a row. So he's kind of putting it together. Pretty decent arm there. I think you can take some shots on him as a pivot off of Lodolo.
Yeah, I love the no-run first inning, and I did bet the no-run first inning in that game. It's a little juicy. I think it was around minus 145 to 150, depending on where you get it. But that is another one of my favorite bets today if you wanted to get that. So I do the same game parlay with Walker and the Mets, and then I like the no-run first inning in the Pittsburgh game. All right, Andre, let's talk offense. We got to go site-specific here, I think, today, because FanDuel – we've got the Coors game. DraftKings was like, we're going to make it a little tougher for everybody today, and we're not going to play Coors, although it worked out yesterday if you faded them. So first off on FanDuel, they disappointed yesterday. I think it was 5-3, and the Rockies won. So the Dodgers offense pretty much stunk. Are you going back to them? Well, actually, I don't even know. What do you think of them today against Marquez, he's a better pitcher at home somehow. It makes no sense, but that's what it is.
Same with Freeland. I don't know how Freeland fits so well at home.
You just sleep in your nice bed. You got the nice adjustable $25,000 bed. They got their little cryo chambers or whatever they got as a professional athlete. It's just a better life at home, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. I want to live that type of lifestyle. but I kind of do like them today. But I'm not going to be over the field on them I was under yesterday. I was being under by mistake because I definitely will be more at the field today. I would say just because I know Marquez does pitch better at home, but I'd rather still take the shot with the Dodgers. There's a lot of those guys on this team that could definitely have good games, like Betts and Freeman, who have just and Lux, who have just been like hitting well against them. So for a while now, so I'll take my chances with them today and be at the field. But I have a lot of other teams that I do like to get over on. Today.
Yeah, well, let's go. Spill
Yankees,
the beans.
Yankees, obviously, that's my favorite. That's like my number one team of the day, honestly. But I do like St. Louis a little bit too as well. I like Milwaukee, Atlanta. One of my favorite like sneaky teams that no one is really going to probably be playing a lot of is Seattle against Odorizzi. I love Seattle today. I don't know why. I just the matchup just from when I was looking at the stats today and everything, to me they just present a good matchup and have a chance, I think, to really go overlook today and put up a lot of runs against Odorizzi today. So I look forward to playing a lot of them today.
Yeah, and they're going to have very low ownership. And you're not going to get the leverage. Odorizzi's not going to be too popular. But if you're looking for a low owned stack, Andre likes Seattle. You got a team you might be a little more interested in. Can I interest you in Tampa Bay at all? Maybe the top of the lineup. The bottom of the lineup, don't really have a lot, but I like Tampa Bay as my sleeper team today, Keith.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, I can get on board with Tampa Bay as well. Bullpen game for Cleveland more than likely. Agree. The full stack is tough because the talent level falls off quickly, but I do like the top of the order. And Milwaukee is a team that I have a ton of interest in today. Great ballpark there. Weak pitcher for Boston. Milwaukee is set up pretty nicely here.
Yeah, lots of good offense. It looks like the Dodgers ownership is a little bit lower than it was yesterday. So maybe you don't get the ultimate insane leverage like you could yesterday moving away from them. But if you wanted to fade cores again, there are a ton of offenses out there to choose from. All right, let's go position by position. We'll try to get those before we get some questions. We'll start on catcher. And maybe even you can probably use Will Smith over on FanDuel. Oh no, you can use him on FanDuel. I would highly recommend using him today. We don't have that game on DraftKings. So what do you want to do? Right there, you can go cheap. You can go to the mid tier. You're probably, if you're using Nola and even Lodolo, catcher probably isn't a spot you really want to spend up. It's the outfield has some big names you want to use today in DraftKings.
Yeah, I definitely think it makes sense to punt catcher. That's typically the way I like to go in cash anyway. You've got Omar Narvaez. I just mentioned liking Milwaukee. He's down batting 8th, but I like this matchup for him. He's just 2,400, so that's the guy I would look to punt with. If you've got a little extra money, Sal Perez is back, and he's only 4,400. And Sean Murphy at 3,900. Tough matchup against Cease, but pretty talented hitter for a decent price there. But I'm punting it with Narvaez.
Yeah, Andre, you got any one-off home run shots at the catcher position?
If you want to go with I like a little bit of Atlanta, I said, but if you want to one-off like a Travis Darno, I think he's in a good spot to hit a home run today. So I like him. Pretty much that's it. Or JT Realmuto against Brew Baker. If like those are two one-offs, I think you can go with at the catcher position.
All right, let's go to first base. My first baseman for cash, Keith, is the same on both sites. We'll see if you're on the same guy as I am today.
Sticking with the Milwaukee. Give me some Rowdy Tellez.
That's my guy too.
Yeah, I mean, just set up really, really great here in this ballpark against a weak starting pitcher that doesn't strike out much. If you need to save some money, Cincinnati has some really cheap options as well. Joey Votto is cheap, and Mike Moustakas is punt level. So I like Tellez. I'm trying to spend the money to get up there, but Votto and Moustakas both in play as well if you need to save.
All right, yeah. I just even on FanDuel when you got Freddie Freeman, I just couldn't get to that with Noel's expensive and a couple other expensive bats you might want to play. I just found myself with Tellez. Andre, what do you maybe we can talk FanDuel. You have the Coors game. Is Freddie Freeman interesting to you? And then in general in first base, who are you looking at?
Yeah, he's definitely interesting for me too. But the same thing like yesterday in a way. I like Paul Goldschmidt a lot too against Josiah Gray. Gives him a lot of fly balls. I don't mind taking the shots on Jose Abreu today as well. Anthony Rizzo is going to be if this is correct, it's going to be like 3% ownership. I love him today going against Greinke. I thought him to hit a home run today too as well. So him as a one-off or even in your stacks, I love him today. Matt Olson as well. Going against Kelly is another option I do like a lot. Reese Hopkins as well is another good option. And also I know a cheap guy that's gonna be kind of popular is gonna be Bobby Dolbeck.
Yeah, Delbeck isn't even going to be popular, but he is hitting reasonably well and has a ton of power. So I love Delbeck as a one-off for tournaments today. Second base, Keith, what are we looking at around the industry today? There are some cost-saving options. There's a couple mid-tier, probably not spending all the way up today.
Correct. On Fanduel, where Muncie is in play, I think you probably play him over at third because we do have some great cheap second basemen here. Jonathan India is leading off for 3K on Fanduel. Nolan Gorman is still really cheap. And Josiah Gray has really struggled with lefties. So Gorman is the guy I think I'm going with. I love India leading off, but Gorman and that power is just too tempting for me.
Yeah, Gorman, if you're looking for a home run prop, looks pretty interesting to me today, or a total base prop. Didn't get that in yet, but who knows? You never know what'll happen.
On DK, Colton Wong is also really cheap. If you have a couple extra 100 over Gorman, Wong is a great option as well.
What do you think of basically punting on DK? I was toying with the Oakland guy, Jonah Bride, just basically, if I get 3 or 4, right? If you combine him with Navarez, you can get an Aaron Judge into your team. I don't know. I want to play Aaron Judge, so that was a sacrifice I was willing to make at second base today.
Yeah, I definitely look at that as a 2v2. Like Bride isn't great on his own. He's a very low power guy. He doesn't strike out though, so he's going to put the ball in play. Cease has walk troubles. If you get a couple of walks and a run out of him, that's perfectly fine when you combine that with the points you get for playing Aaron Judge as well. So
yeah,
I don't hate
40
that.
in for Aaron Judge already. That seems pretty. For anything with Aaron Judge will win the 2v2 today. Andre, second base tournaments. It's India on DraftKings is 5,500, right? It's the total opposite as it is on FanDuel. You've got, I don't know, a couple other guys you might want to play there. What are you looking at?
Yeah, well, India's definitely someone we'll be looking at today. Gavin Lux, I like a lot today. And that game, Gleyber Torres as well, Jose Altuve, if you want to take the opposite side of the Seattle game. Where is he? Oh, Adam. I don't mind. Well, no, I'm not using Adam Frazier today. In the Seattle stacks, only in stacks I will use him though. DJ LeMahieu, who's been hitting pretty decently well today, I don't mind him as well. And Brandon Lau. And I think he's a good option too against Shaw and Colton Wong.
I saw a couple people asking about the weather. There's a couple yellows out there. I read through them. Everything looks good. If you see a delay at the start of the Philly-Pittsburgh game, don't be worried about it. Roth just put an update out. It said maybe it gets just hit by a little bit of rain to start the game, but then it's clear. So if you are concerned, you see a delay pop up to start, don't worry about it. Game's going to play just fine. Let's go to third base, Keith. What are we looking at on both sites today?
Yeah, over on FanDuel, I think it's pretty clearly Max Muncy. You're definitely playing him. He's just too cheap for being in Coors Field against Marquez. Hitting seventh isn't ideal, but you add the Coors factor. I think Muncy is clearly the play. If you don't like that, Moustakas is very cheap on FanDuel. Would mind him as a pivot. Over on DK, Donovan Solano's price tag is very nice. He's up in the 2-hole for Cincinnati at just 3,400. Voth has been fairly decent this year, but he's not somebody I'm afraid of. And Solano has actually had a pretty good year.
Yeah, there's a couple cheapies. You got Solano at 3,400. Josh Donaldson, he's hitting 6th. But, I mean, if you're a hitter in the Yankee lineup, he's 3,800. You mentioned lefties against Josiah Gray. You got Brendan Donovan in there hitting 2nd. Even Bobby Dalbec with the splits against Ashby's 3,300 on DK. There are a lot of interesting options. Solano is my favorite, but I don't think I'd fault you for pretty much playing any of – if you needed an extra $100 to play Bobby Dalbec, I'm okay with that. If you needed an extra $300 and had to play Donovan, I'm okay with that. So there are some interesting cheap options on DraftKings today. Andre, tournaments, I think, right, if people are playing NOLA, and specifically if they're playing like 2 of the elite pitchers, you don't really have a lot of money on DraftKings today. Do you like any of the cheaper options, or are you more up towards the top today?
For which are we talking about? For
we're on third base.
Third base, okay. Third base. Third base, well, it depends. Like I do like guys like Chris Bryant. I mean, when like Chris Bryant against Gosselin today, if you're playing on FanDuel, and Muncie as well. But if you're playing like DraftKings, I don't mind taking a few other shots like Austin Riley as well, who's I think in a good position. Another guy I love to do is a 1-off too as well to hit a home run. Today is Nolan Arenado in your St. Louis stacks. I think he's a good option as well. Josh Donaldson, as you mentioned before, I think he's in a great position against Riley. I mean against Greinke, sorry. And then a guy like Mlb Dfs is someone I don't mind taking shots on. And also, this guy going to be a little bit less wrong, but he's done really well in his career against Greinke, and that's Matt Carpenter. I think
Carpenter hits bombs every day.
Yeah, so that's a guy I think we have to consider playing today. And Alec Baum I like as well.
All right, let's go to shortstop. We'll start on FanDuel. You've got Trey Turner. Are you prioritizing Trey Turner? Or are you, we mentioned Solano on DraftKings. He is shortstop eligible on FanDuel as well. He's 2,400. Looks like a good spot to pick one or the other today.
Yeah, I agree. Those are the top two options I'd be looking at. I didn't have the money for Turner. I'm preferring to spend my money in the outfield. So I just can't quite fit Trey in there today. Solano is a fantastic option. Paul DeJong is also minimum price on FanDuel. I prefer Solano because he's higher in the order, but if you needed that $400, DeJong is a better hitter than a minimum price.
Yeah, if that gets you like an Aaron Judge in your lineup, I'm okay with that. Like FanDuel really priced up Judge today. He's 500 more than even like a Mookie Betts, so I think they did good. I think Judge is a little more attainable on DraftKings today. I really couldn't get Judge onto my FanDuel teams today. I was trying as best I can, and you just have to make like way too many sacrifices, at least on your cash team. So I'm playing him on DraftKings, not so much on FanDuel. What about on DraftKings, Keith?
So Willie Adames at 4,900 is in play. If you've got the money, I think that's where you go. I do like Swanson as well, but you can save 500 by going down to Adames. And I just mentioned DeJong. He's 3K on DraftKings. I think if you need to save some money, that's where I would look.
All right. Tournaments, Andre, what are you looking at?
Tim Anderson, Dansby Swanson. Those are some of the guys I'll be watching and looking at. Paul DeJong, I think we mentioned before, $2,000 on FanDuel is a cheap price. I think it's like $3 on DraftKings. Yeah, $3 on DraftKings. Kyle Farmer, if you're running your Cincinnati stacks, he's I think a good option today as well. Jeremy Pena also.
All right, if you guys want to get your questions in, we'll get to those at 1:35. I got to bounce right at 1:35, so I'll probably end the show right away, so not a lot of time for questions afterwards. But if you get them in now, we'll try to get to as many as we can after we're done with the outfield. All right, Keith, outfield. What's his deal with Ronald Acuna being cheaper than Michael Harris on DraftKings today?
Yeah, that's just wild.
Yeah, that's just a little bit too cheap. I think Acuna is too cheap on both sites. If you can't get to Judge, I think Acuna is probably the next name outfielder I want to go to. But there's a lot of interesting ways to go. What are your feelings on it?
Yeah, so Mookie Betts on FanDuel, I think, is a phenomenal play if you can get there. Acuna is a nice consolation prize. Like he struggled, but his power and speed combo, like he has so many ways to score fantasy points. He's not going to continue to struggle here. Mm-hmm. So totally fine with Acuna at that price. Then I'm looking to go cheap. Lane Thomas is leading off for Washington against Palante, who has really struggled here recently. Absolutely love that one. AJ Pollock has a great matchup against a weak pitcher for Oakland as well. Really like both of those two. Jake Fraley is minimum price on FanDuel, would be an option. I do like the Christian Yelich price too. He just didn't really fit my build. Like he's kind of in a no man's pricing tier, but I do like Yelich today if you want to, if you find a build that you like with him. Yeah,
like on DraftKings, if you were playing two high-priced pitchers, or you didn't want to play like Jonah Bride at second base or something, and you didn't have Aaron Judge, I think Yelich fits into those teams reasonably well. I went with Judge. Acuna is just way too cheap, and then you mentioned Lane Thomas too. So all those guys, you sort of min-max with the big names and go with Thomas on both sites is sort of what I ended up leaning towards. So we've got 20 teams playing 18 teams. Andre, there's lots of outfielders. If people on Fanduel, they're playing Mookie Betts and they're playing a couple other Dodgers, what else are we looking at out there to maybe get a little different?
Well, yeah, we know Aaron Judge. Like, to me, he should be the top player overall. Like, he should be more than where we have the ownership coming in on him right now, in my opinion. He's just been on fire lately, so I like him a lot. Jordan Alvarez is another guy I want to get to. Juan Soto, Kyle Schwarber, Christian Yelich, part of your Milwaukee stacks. I like him. AJ Pollock thinks Kyle Tucker. I know he's been struggling a little lately, but this is a good matchup for him. Hopefully he can just break out of the slump that he's having a little bit. Gavin Lux, who's going to be probably a little bit lesser owned than your Dodger stacks. Hunter Renfroe, McCutcheons. It's a lot of good guys today. I like Jesse Winker a lot today too, going against Odorizzi too. So
is he in the lineup? We need this lineup, Seattle.
Yeah.
Come on, man. The game's about to start.
Oh, it actually just came out. Frazier, Winker, Crawford, Santana, Suarez, Lewis, Riley, Toro, and Larson.
Looks Frazier, Winker, Santana. So did Suarez? Oh yeah, he got in there. Looks reasonably good up at the top. Frazier leading off. It looks like a reasonably good play to do.
Yeah,
with Winker, Crawford's always reasonably good. Had a really good year last year for what he was. I can get behind Seattle as your low-owned team for that lineup, no problem. All right, let's field some questions. We're going to go to our Discord first for our premium members. I see a couple people. Alec Rodriguez is in there. Great call on Suarez yesterday. I said run the ladder up to 8. He hit 8, so that was a very nice day on my FanDuel account at the plus 600. So very, very good. I don't have any of those. I gave my bets out earlier. Carolina guy wanted to know favorite FanDuel single entry stack today. We'll go around the board. Andre first.
Seattle.
Oh wow! Yeah, literally no one will have them in a single entry today. Keith.
I'm going to say Milwaukee. They're going to be a little popular on DraftKings because you don't have the Dodgers, but on FanDuel, they're going to be pretty low owned. So give me Milwaukee.
Yeah, on the Giants slate against Marquez, I think I would also not play the Dodgers. And my team's going to be the White Sox today against Oakland. I like them quite a bit. Let's see. I'll grab a couple other questions. FanDuel Cash. This is from, does anyone like Washington at all today on FanDuel? We didn't really talk. You do? You can get on board against Seattle? Sure.
Yeah, I can get on board with them.
FanDuel gave you the warning today. They're like, hey, if you play Josh Bell and he's traded, that ain't on us. That ain't on us. Just keep that in mind as we get a little closer. I wasn't worried about it yesterday. Every day more, you just get a little more worried. I don't think Soto's going anywhere. They want the world. But Bell is definitely going to end up getting moved. Probably not today, but you never know. But sure, I can get on board Washington. FanDuel Cash, Muncy and DeJong or Lamb and Bobby Delbeck?
That's close. I like the first one. A little too much risk on the second one for me. Lots of strikeouts there.
Yeah, I'd probably take the first one too. The second one's, like you said, it's a lot closer than you would probably think, but I'm going on number 1. Crazy Coop, DraftKings, single entry, or just in general, are we on the Astros today?
I do like the Astros, just not a lot compared to any other team. I think there's a lot more higher upside teams today.
Keith,
they're going to hit a couple home runs. They're going to hit a couple home runs. I don't know about the full stack, but Kirby has been allowing quite a few fly balls, so I think you can find a home run or two there for sure.
Yeah.
Lance Thomas or Lane Thomas or Eddie Rosario, FanDuel Cash last piece. I think we're both on Thomas, right, Keith?
Yep, agree.
All right. Is regression an issue with Judge? His BABIP over the last 11 games is 526 and home run to fly ball is 63%. Those can't continue. The dude's like 7 feet 6 inches tall and he hits baseballs really hard. No, he's not going to be that good, but I mean, sure, regression's going to hit at some point.
Yeah, eventually it's going to hit. Like he can't continue this pace, but the pace that he regresses to is still going to be really good.
Yeah. We playing starting pitching in Pittsburgh. Yes, Roth's latest report. I'll put it right here. Let's see if I can bring just the whole tweet up for everybody here. So look at this. Look what I can do on the internet here. So I'll even make it bigger for everyone. So his latest tweet was Pittsburgh's going to get brushed by a northern extent of this rain band. around first pitch. The rain never gets heavy. They may opt to late start or let it pass. So if you see a delay, but look, it's just like the tiniest bit. It's clear after it. There's no problem after that. So yes, we're all playing Aaron Nola today. Beaner wanted to know FanDuel best tournament pitching option today. What do we got?
Nick Lodolo, sorry.
And FanDuel, he's not going to be very popular. I think that makes a lot of sense. I mean, he will be popular, but not ultra popular. What do you got today, Keith?
So Shane McClanahan is a guy that I don't care about opponent and their strikeout rate. Like, it would not surprise me to see McClanahan go out there and strike out 10 today.
The bottom of that Cleveland lineup is atrocious today.
Yeah. He's expensive, but he could pay it off.
I'm going to throw no one's going to play Taijuan Walker. I would definitely play Lodolo. Lodolo's going to be 6% on FanDuel because there's some really big names out there. I think he'll get a little higher than that. This is the Bats ownership. But I think Lodolo is probably my guy on FanDuel, where he's going to be very popular on DraftKings. FanDuel looks like the spot to play him. Orioles against Lodolo on FanDuel. So that sort of goes a little bit against it. I guess I'd be more apt to play him on DraftKings because I don't know if there's going to be a ton of leverage. Cardi's got him at 6%. RotoGrinders has him at 10% on FanDuel. That's not a ton of leverage, is it? Is it, Andre?
Not really. I wouldn't do it on FanDuel personally.
Jay wanted to know Milwaukee mini stack. Do you think that's going to be popular today, the wraparound? So you're probably playing Navarez and, moving around to the top of the order, pairing it with the Yankees. That seems reasonably like what some people will do today. Those are two of the better offenses today. It's a single entry. Think people are going to be doing that?
I do. That price on Narvaez, this is DK we're talking about specifically, I assume.
Yes.
The Narvaez price is outstanding. And then Yelich and Adames and Tellez are excellent options at the top. So I do think that's going to be fairly popular. All
right. I don't see any. If you guys in YouTube have questions, please feel free to post them. Click the like button. There's no Spidey bombs today. But if you have access to the FanDuel Sportsbook, I'll give out a couple of bets real quick. I like the Mets to win and then also take Taijuan Walker. If you don't want to get too frisky, like 3Ks. If you want to get a little friskier, 4 or 5Ks, you can get up to some plus money on that. I like Taijuan Walker to have a good game today. And I like the no-run first inning in the Philadelphia-Pittsburgh game. You got to get to those quick. Those start at 1:35. They want to know, are you eating the same chips from yesterday, Andre, or did you get a new bag?
Nope, same ones from yesterday.
See, me, when I open the bag of chips,
I got to finish
That's it. It's the bag disappears. So I would be on to a new bag. Let's see if we got any more. I see another question in Discord. DraftKings cash Acuna and Lodolo or Nola and Thomas? How about all of it?
Yeah, I mean, it depends on who you're pairing with Nola. It would be if you're going Nola Cease or Nola McClanahan, I don't mind that at all.
Mm-hmm. I would just play all of them, Straw. That would be my suggestion. All 4 of them on your DraftKings cash team. Looks pretty juicy today, in my opinion. All right, we're about a minute from lock. Does anyone got bets for today?
Judge hit 2 home runs. Anthony Rizzo a home run. Right. Seattle money line. I think that's really mainly it I got a lot more, but that's what I can think of on the top of my head right now.
All right, Keith, you got anything?
Herman Marquez under 4.5 strikeouts was my favorite strikeout prop. I didn't love the board today. There was a lot of juice on all the studs. Nola over 6.5, I think it was my favorite among those 3. But Marquez under 4.5, I think the Dodgers can get to him today.
Let's see. Thoughts on Jay, give me I gotta get out of here in just a second. So we're basically at lock here. I want to remind all you guys, check out the FanDuel single entry series for baseball. Even if you didn't get in today, you can still get into that. There's no MME. You get 1 lineup a day over the course of many weeks. There's like a little live final at the end of it. Go check that out on FanDuel. The single entry series championship is in Chicago on September 9th for a shot at the $10,000 grand prize. Do that. Check out scores and odds. The team was bananas yesterday. Hopefully they are again today because they were so hot yesterday. I blindly bet everything today. I just don't have time to hit all the buttons on Andre's parlays, but there's a lot of stuff going on in there on scores and odds. If you just want to check out the best odds to, if you want to know if Aaron Judge hits a home run, is it plus 190 or plus 220? Of course, you want to hit the plus 220. You can get that for free on Scores and Odds. If you want the premium picks, there is a subscription for that. Other than that, guys, I think we got to get out of here. For Andre and Keith, I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out you.